Good morning, everyone. Oh, we're having some issues here. Bear with me. We'll get it. There we go. All right. How is everyone this morning? I hope you are buckled up and ready for action. We have got quite a bit. Oops. Hold on here. There we go. Okay. We're doing this new format. So I'm having to click buttons. And there we go. Hi, guys.
Hello. Good morning.
So I think we got that going. You know, this is really weird. My chat just disappears for some reason over on my other screen. Oh, there it goes. Boy, that is just the weirdest thing. I don't know what the heck is going on with that. Well, all right. I guess I got it figured out. Good morning, Dave.
Morning, guys.
Let's see. So I'm trying this new format over on Restream. And I thought I had everybody in the boxes, more appropriately. And now it doesn't seem to want to do it the way it was yesterday, which is really weird. Oh, there it is. Okay. Jeez. Talk about a little slow on the uptake. I guess that's me this morning. How are you guys this morning?
Surviving.
That's
right.
Did you see my note on the video that you posted, Dave?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So
I'm on NOS, Sam. So it's one of those mornings for me.
Oh, geez. All right, everybody, buckle up. Make sure that your tray tables and seat backs are in their up and locked position. James is drinking NOS this morning. Alex, you're awfully quiet this morning. What's going on?
I'm just surviving like Dave.
I think he's counting his silver. Is what counting the number on the silver.
Exactly. No kidding.
Let's go.
Exactly. All right. Well, let me say some good mornings here. Moreski Patriot is here. Vicky Veronic is here. Wendy, here we go. Isn't that the truth, Wendy? Nurse said, "Happy Tuesday, everyone." Hitesh Hits is here. Sherry from East Tennessee. Teresa Ann from Indiana. Barb 7599 is here. PJ Party. Oh, yeah. PJ Party's reminding everybody we got to get to 10,000 in the first 10 minutes. And I'm sure we'll do it. Jan loving being grandma. Hometown girl. Moving forward. The MHS is here. What's that? Oh, I thought somebody said something.
No. Nope.
Wendy is here. Benji 1959. Big Ben is here. PJ Party, Peggy, Donna Fox. Good morning, Donna. Andrea Lynn 81. Wendy J. Sky Dancer. Wildlife Fan. Stacy 3978. Holy cannoli. Everybody's coming in. Melissa Flinter's here. Tanya Moonsheiber. Let's see. Who else did I miss up here? Jan Lovin being grandma. Oh, my goodness. Welcome in, everyone. Oh, this chat over there. Wow, that's weird. Okay. So Richard Pacente is here over on YouTube. Doc Safe Tube. I think I pronounced that correct. Richard Pacente. I said that. I don't know why it's doubling up on the chat over on Restream. That's weird. Oh, well. Crystal Zeski just popped in. Good morning, Crystal. All right, guys. What do you think? Alex, how about some indices?
How about? What do you say? Good morning, everybody, on this fabulous Tuesday, 1/6/2026. Markets doing well this morning. S&P 500 up 14 points to 6,916. Dow is up 258 points to 49,236. NASDAQ is up 33 points to 23,428. Looking at the commodities market, the good news we were all waiting for. Hey, barrels of oil down a couple cents at $58.33. Gold up 31, was pushing hard last night. We're at 4,483, pushing back up to that $4,500 mark. And as Dave mentioned, silver's up $3 right now, sitting at $80 per ounce.
Wow.
Good news if you got it. Bad news if you don't, because you can't find it anywhere. Looking at the crypto markets, things going well this morning. Bitcoin down slightly. It was up overnight, but down slightly 1% at 92,615. XRP, the volume is up 149% at over 8 billion. It is sitting at $2.28. It's up 3.8%. That's good stuff, but a little late for James. Ethereum is up 2% at 3,248. Stellar Lumen XLM is up 1% at 24 cents. Cardano down 0.5% at 41 cents. Buy the dip, not financial advice.
Well, we have XRP up. James drinking NOS. This is lining up to be one heck of a live show here. Is all I can say. Let's see. David Morales is here over on YouTube. He said, "I'm present and not politically correct. We wouldn't have it any other way." David. Lisa Maria is here. Good morning, Lisa. Sassy Minnesota girl. Bob just popped in. Helpful honey. Grow kind. Hair loss is here. CG, formerly known as Kissing Bandit Lipstick, is here as well. All right, Dave, what do we have for farming and agriculture?
Well, still pretty decent across the board this morning. Corn is up 1 to 2. Soybeans are up 2 to 4. Wheat is mixed. Cattle is up 0.6%, and hogs are down 0.4%. Kind of going on the Venezuela talk. Potential oil and stuff coming in could ease diesel prices across the board, and that'll also reduce other prices. So, obviously, helping our economy all the way around the board. So,
yeah, exactly. Robbie Miller just showed up. Good morning, Robbie. Oh, wow. We did. Wow. We hit 20,000 likes in 6 minutes. Wow. You guys are awesome.
Sam, you may want to explain to some of these people, because I'm seeing some confusion on my live. A lot of people are asking, how come I'm on your live and not on Sam's? And
okay.
If you could explain that would be good.
Yeah. So what we've done, everyone, is we are trying this new system or protocol, for lack of a better term. And what we used to do is I would go live, and then Alex, Dave, and James would join me on my live. Well, apparently TikTok doesn't like that. So what we're doing now is we're going live, each of us on our own channels, and then we're joining each other for the show. So if you're in my live, you'll see all of my chats in my live. If you're on Alex's or Dave's or James, you'll see their chats, but you won't. As far as we know, there's no way to mix the live chats. So hopefully that's an explanation. Exactly. And the heart me's, which you just saw pop up on top of my head, those are what really catch the attention of the algorithms. So if you can send a heart me, that would be wonderful. Hometown girls here. Judy's here. Wendy J just popped in. The beach chair farmer, April Burgess. Rick Sr. is here as well. All right, James, what do we have for a military report today?
Well, I do have one. That's not a surprise, I don't think. Welcome in, everybody. It's good to see you guys. So the United States Coast Guard gets the call. A 28-foot vessel capsized about 31 miles north of Dave's favorite place, Key West. Coast Guard Station Miami deployed an MH-65 Dolphin air crew, and Naval Air Station Key West deployed a MH-60S Marlin, and they successfully rescued 4 boaters. The boaters were in stable condition and transported to Key West for medical treatment. The vessel was in 2 to 4 foot seas and 18-mile-an-hour winds. One of the boaters managed to grab a handheld radio and make a call for help. The boaters tied each other together with their life jackets. A rescue swimmer assisted hoisting the boaters to the rescue helicopter. The boaters did a lot of things right, wearing life jackets and staying in communication. A good reminder, check the weather, wear your gear, and make sure you have a way to call for help before you get underway.
Excellent, James. Thank you. Let's see. Towie Bixby's here. Good morning, Towie. I Speak 1717 popped in. Hey, Seth is there. Hey, Seth, welcome in. Brian said, I'm back. Yes. Well, where the heck have you been, Brian? Well, we're just glad you're here now. Teresa Faria Contractors here as well. All right. So let's jump into some stories here. First one up is Lindsey Graham was on Air Force One with President Trump, and they were holding a hat that said, "Make Iran Great Again." And it was signed by President Trump. And we're seeing an awful lot, like we spoke about yesterday, we're seeing an awful lot of chatter about Iran. James, what do you make of it?
It's a new merch line for 47. He's got to get some money somehow.
Yeah, exactly. Dave?
Well, it's interesting on that. Lindsey Graham is in the picture a lot, which for a while there, he was questioned on his heart towards the MAGA movement. So it'll be interesting to watch that and see where that leads.
Well, and I think people want to keep in mind that there are such things as double agents and triple agents, and there are what I would call white hats, black hats, gray hats, red hats. There's a lot of different players. Alex, you're shaking your head. What do you think?
Redheads? What?
No, red hats.
Sorry, squirrel. Yeah, I know. I was being honored. We kind of talked about it. I think it was yesterday. Like the history of Iran. I mean, going back to the 1800s and in the 1950s, when certain agencies were involved in what was going on over there, in comparison to Venezuela, before it was an oil grab, and I don't think we got real deep into what the oil grab means, but it was to support the oil-backed dollar, which is part of the fiat Federal Reserve currency system. And what we're seeing in Venezuela is very different. Trump has said pretty plainly that that oil is going back to the people. The profits of that oil is going back to the people. The control over the petrodollar is being stripped away. And as far as which states are going to benefit from that, I mean, I think Louisiana has quite a few refineries, so him and Lindsey Graham shooting banter on the plane kind of fits into the narrative.
Well, and I saw a video, and I don't know how true the math was, but essentially it said, given the level of oil reserves that Venezuela has, it would not be uncommon to see the trickle-down effect coming in at $1 a gallon for gasoline. And if something like that was to happen, we would be looking at trucking costs going down by 30, 40%, groceries going down by 30, 40%, if not more. Now, is that part of the grand scheme of things? I couldn't tell you at this point, but I think it's certainly something to keep an eye on. But if we hit those kind of numbers, my God, that would be, I don't even know how to express it. That would be a tectonic shift in the way commerce takes place around the world, especially here in America.
Diesel runs everything, pure and simple.
Yep. So
it goes back to that. I mean, really think about the when we 71, when we were taken off the gold standard and we were moved to an oil standard, which was supposed to be temporary, and what started happening in the 70s. Look over the course of history at the places that we found ourselves in conflicts and the regime change that followed, and how much of a controlling factor in that was the price of oil, because they wanted to control the petrodollar that was supposed to be temporary, by the way. Like the things we're watching happen right now, freaking historic.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. LSC.3 is here. Laura McCrae, David, Dana Mackey, welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. So there's been a lot of talk. Now, today is January 6th, the anniversary of the insurrection. Probably should call it the Fedsurrection. But Drop 4360 says, Insurrection Act of 1807, determination that the various state and local authorities are not up to the task of responding to the growing unrest. Call the ball. Now, there has been all types of confirmation, or I should say, oh, shoot, hold on a second. Sorry, everyone, I had a
squirrel.
No, it was that. So I have to turn off other devices when I'm on my live. Otherwise, they start giving me all kinds of notifications. So my apologies, but I had to turn that off. So the Insurrection Act, today's the anniversary. We have quite a few posts from President Trump talking about insurrection. And it's not just been going on here, in the last 2 weeks. It's been going on for years. And it seems to me that chatter has increased exponentially over the last few weeks. Alex, what do you think? Do you think it's indication of something?
100%. We're just gonna have to wait. The next 6 weeks, James and I were talking last night, and I was like, if you went back to 2018, 17, and you told any one of us that the whole freaking world was gonna shut down over a cold, we would have went, oh, come on, whatever, And I think historically, what's going to happen over the next probably 3 to 6 months, even if we tried to speculate what's coming, it's going to be so off the charts. It's going to be more grandiose than what they did to us in 2020, but in the positive side of things.
Right. Dave?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where it goes. The last time it was invoked was 1992, Sam, and the Los Angeles riots down there. So, or it's going on now too. So we'll see.
Yeah, exactly. James?
Well, first of all, I'll be interested in seeing what kind of march they have up there today by the Capitol. I hear there's supposed to be another one of those marches today. My bet is a bunch of them are going to be wearing masks, so we can't identify who they really are. Yeah. So, beefed up security measures around there. Just keeping out for the people wearing masks. I think they're going to probably be more wearing than not.
Is it coincidence? I mean, seriously, everybody think critically for just a moment. Over the course of the last 6 months, how quickly the flags and the signs on the television have happened. Like the day after Maduro is brought in, in cities all across the country, they're all carrying the same sign, now carrying the Venezuelan flag. But I thought it was, was it Palestine or was it Mexico? Like, somebody make up my mind. I'm so confused. Which flag am I supposed to carry? What sign? Where do I get these signs? And how quickly do they print them?
Well, and President Trump was live right before we came on, and I watched for a little while. And he specifically brought that up about the signs. He goes, "Oh, that's the best sign maker in the world. We should get him for the Republican National Committee. Whoever's making those signs should be making them for them."
That's insane.
And again, I think he's drawing attention. I think you're absolutely right, Alex.
Well, and it's not just us that sees it. There was I forget which reporter it was, stopped some guy on the street, and I don't remember if it was Chicago or New York or whatever, just some random conversation between the two. And even he brought up the same exact thing. He's like, how the hell do they get those signs so fast? Like, they just picked up Maduro. Like,
right.
Coordinated effort.
Exactly. Hokey Gigi's here. Lace and Steel just showed up. Good morning, Lace. Kathleen Garcia. Good morning. I Speak 1717 said taxes were supposed to be temporary. Yeah, exactly. Doug Rice 59 said tapping isn't working on my end. Well, that's weird. Yeah, I think until the algorithm realizes the difference that we've made here, we're going to have some issues. But hang in there, it'll work. Cognitive Dissonance said silver broke 104 in Singapore. Holy cannoli, that's just crazy.
So to that point, James brought up a good point last night when him and I were having a conversation. If you look at the conversion rate of currency, US dollars, to these other places, it kind of negates that price difference. So in US dollars, in Singapore, if you bought $104, that's about 80 US dollars. So it does kind of, and I looked into it, James, after you brought it up. That was a great point. So is it really selling for more overseas, or is that just the conversion rate playing into it? Builds the hype that, hey, Japan's got $130 silver, but what's the conversion? So just food for thought.
Well, if they're valuing it in the yen, Yeah, you're right. But if it's being valued in the dollar, then it's one for one. But I don't know what those specifics are. I can't tell you
And
off the top of
and
my head.
silver's at $80.84 on my tally right now. So
Wow. Wow. David Morale said, I'll go and protest when the weather warms up and the hourly rate is right. Isn't that the truth, David? Jeez.
Do you want the
So
Do you want the
true.
website to sign up and get paid? I can help you out.
Jay Hicks said, I watched Trump's speech. Was interesting. I'm thinking comms. Yeah, of course there's comms. Hey, Full Metal Jacket's here. Morning, Jeremiah. Glad you could make it. We've got some good trolls in the chat today. Welcome, trolls.
Thanks for helping the
Glad you made it.
algorithm.
Maybe you'll learn something. Exactly. All right. Well, let's move on. So, according to Zero Hedge, Denmark is freaking out over the possible quote Venezuela playbook in Greenland. Now, I would not be surprised if President Trump has something up his sleeve, but at this point, I don't know. What do you think, Alex?
Well, I mean, look at strategic positioning. Who's there now? What are they doing there now? What is in Greenland other than geological location? I mean, the man doesn't pass gas without planning it out 10 minutes ahead of time who he's going to crop dust. So just hold on to your trade tables and keep your seats in the upright position because it's about to get bumpy.
Exactly. James?
Well, now we're getting into the part of the dispatch that I starting to savor. Yeah. So a takeover of Greenland would end our NATO alliance with them. Last year, they agreed to allow the United States to have military bases in their country. Sunday, 47 said, let's talk about Greenland in 20 days. What is 20 days from now or from Sunday? I don't know. 47 also said, we need Greenland for national security. Denmark is not going to provide it. So even though they bought our F-35s, their military alliance with us is far from even.
Yeah, exactly.
well,
Dave?
it's coming. You know, Greenland has iron, zinc, copper, graphite, lithium, gold, diamonds, and uranium. So all parts to move forward with our AI and what the United States needs. So it's coming. How he does it, it's going to be a chess move, no doubt about that.
Boy, isn't that the truth or a magician's
You ain't
trick?
kidding.
Christy P78's here. Donna Fox. Annie 1949. Martin's WB. Good morning, Martin. Glad you made it, brother.
Maybe
let's-
Denmark can call Canada and get that Royal Canadian Air Force to come help them.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Holy smokes. So, according to Watcher Guru and CNBC, the U.S. government... Oh, Trump train! There we go! Nice, John Quinn. Thanks, John. U.S. government could seize Venezuela's Bitcoin and crypto reserves. Now, has it already happened? Will it go directly into the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve? Will it go into the Sovereign Wealth Fund? Are we going to do it? James, what do you think?
Boy, those are all good questions, Sam. Really makes you wonder because President Trump seems to have a confidence level that's unusually high. So, and we know his stature anyway, but you could be onto something there. Venezuela has a regular reserve of 240 million Bitcoin worth about, 240 Bitcoin worth about $22 million. They do also have a shadow or secret reserve, which is estimated to be at 600,000 Bitcoin worth $60 billion. If the U.S. successfully identifies and immobilizes these coins, it will likely enter a deep legal state of paralysis, meaning it's not going to go anywhere and it's basically going to be frozen. Conversely, if Venezuela is recognized of having 600 billion Bitcoin, that would make them number one over the United States. And I don't think President Trump's going to allow that to happen.
Yeah, exactly. Dave?
Well, obviously, if it's bought with illegal oil, it's coming over to us and getting passed somewhere. Let's put it that way.
Yep, exactly. Alex?
Sovereign Wealth Fund, maybe, and that would be much like the residents of Alaska that they receive dividends or payments annually from the resources of their economy. While we're on the crypto subject, real quick, I think a portion of the volume that we're seeing in XRP today, there is a real estate investment company that is tokenizing real estate transactions on the Ripple ledger, beginning.
Is that the Cordone guy?
Not
Alex?
Grant Cardone. No, this is
Oh, no.
it's interesting, and I'm digging in. It's Real, REAL, and they are facilitating the tokenization of assets, i.e., property, which we've talked about on the show. How you do business, everything will be tokenized. So the contract, the title, the transfer of funds, all done on the XRP ledger. Very interesting stuff happening in all aspects right now.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. Top Crop TV. Thank you for all the gifts, Seth. Franny Dragonfly, Sassy Minnesota Girl. Thank you all for the gifts. David Rawls over on YouTube said South America's, Canada, and Greenland for the Monroe Doctrine. Fact or fable? What's our thoughts? Now, I don't know the Monroe Doctrine that well. Alex, can you pull it up while I get James's opinion and read it, at least a brief
Sure.
summation of it? James?
Intelligibly, I cannot speak right at the moment on it because I don't have it pulled up. I've been over it, but I can't. I'll let Alex do it.
Yeah, because I'm just not that familiar with it.
Either.
Hey, Valerie James just showed up. Hey, Valerie. Yes, Benji 1959 with a bunch of squirrels in the
So,
chat, and Brian. Yes,
The
I see them.
Monroe Doctrine is a fun. Let me start over. The Monroe Doctrine is a fundamental U.S. foreign policy principle architected by President James Monroe in his annual message to Congress in December of 1823. So core principles: the Western Hemisphere, the Americas, was closed to future European colonization. Venezuela. Any attempt by European powers to interfere or recolonize independent nations in the Americas would be viewed as a hostile act by the U.S. The U.S. will not interfere in existing European colonies in the Americas. The U.S. would remain neutral in European wars and internal affairs.
Excellent. Thank you. Hopefully that sheds a little light. I don't know. I personally believe that President Trump, when he negotiated the NAFTA switch to the USMCA, I think there was a lot more going on in those documents than people realize. I don't know how it's going to play out or when it's going to play out. Michelle H. said Canada was given the chance for an oil deal. They didn't make the deal. Well, that could be true, but again, how is it going to play out in real time? I don't know.
Well, the historical legacy evolution of it served as jurisdiction for the U.S. actions in the Caribbean and Latin America, interventions in Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua. It was invoked during the Cold War with the Cuban Missile Crisis against the Soviet influence, and criticized by imperialistic Latin American nations. Venezuela. Anyway.
Exactly. Hey, Skippy's here over on YouTube, and Mark Travis is here as well. Mark said Nasara soon. Well, I don't think it's going to be called Nasara or Jasara, but I think we're moving in that direction. Are we looking at the abolition of federal income taxes? Yes, I believe so. That's just my opinion. Are we looking at lower energy prices? Yes, that is my position. Are we looking at the monetary system switching from SWIFT to a blockchain precious metal system? Yes, I believe so. But again, these are just my opinions. I think we all have seen different things, but how it's going to play out in the long run, God only knows for sure. Pure Blood Holly Johns is here. Good morning, Holly. Oh man, the chat's really moving now. Sorry if I'm not keeping up with all these, you guys. It's moving so fast, it's hard to keep up. All right, well, let's move on. Next, we have Maduro pled not guilty to all charges, saying that he is, quote, a decent man and still president of Venezuela. Yeah, how's that working out for you so far, Maduro? Is what I want to know, Dave.
Yeah, he was complaining about another guy about his oil getting taken away from him the other day in the jail cell. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be all brought out. Obviously, we've got all the insides on it, so it'll be coming out.
So what you're referring
exactly,
to
James.
is Diddy was complaining they took his oil
His
too.
oil away too. Yeah.
Exactly. Oh, you had to go there, didn't you, Alex?
He
James?
started it.
Bring it up. That's the key.
James?
Okay. The corruption is so deep. You got to hear this. This is something I dug up this morning. So almost $500,000 was wagered by an anonymous gambler, placing a $32,537 bet on Polymarket that President Maduro, I don't like using the term president because he wasn't a president, Maduro was going to be arrested just prior to Maduro being captured. Polymarket is a crypto powered platform. They don't know who placed the bet. They had a blockchain identifier of letters and numbers. So do you think it was somebody in the United States military that knew something? I mean, it just, you don't know. It could have been Maduro himself. He might have known. I mean, it's crazy that somebody can bet on that shit.
Well, that whole Polymarket thing is kind of hinky to begin with. I mean, they're coming into the mainstream with their gambling. And I'm wondering, is it an attack vector against Vegas?
Yeah.
That may be ultimately what it is, like a parallel betting or gambling, community or attack vector.
Sam, do you think that they took a bet on if he was going to shit his pants when they busted in or not?
Maybe.
Okay,
Maybe.
There we go. All right, I was waiting for the NOS to kick in, and it just did. Pureblood Holly John said, Venezuela may be our 51st state. It could be Venezuela. It could be Canada. It could be Greenland. It could be. I don't know where it's going, but I'm telling you, there's a hell of a lot happening right now. PJ Party likes your oil joke, Dave, by the way.
Well,
Silver Fox said, I think Maduro will flip on a Dominion voting machine evidence. Yeah, well, I think that's already happened. I think that's part of the reason why we have, the 7th Fleet, or what do we have down there in the area, because that's exactly what it is. 64 different countries that Smartmatic and Dominion voting systems have infected and infiltrated. That I think that's a big part of it.
Well,
Alex, what do you think?
PDVSA in the oil sector, their primary source of revenue was tens of billions of gaffes, which schemes that included overpriced contracts, bribes, diversion of funds. Scandals from going back as far as 2010 involved billions with a B, vanishing through cryptocurrency conversions and shell companies. Corruption and underinvestment caused oil production to plummet over 3 million barrels a day. So what happens when production goes down? Demand goes up because the cost is going up because again, it's controlling the petro dollar in this massive worldwide deep state scheme, right? Not to mention narco trafficking, the crypto scandals, which is what we're seeing play out now, because they were taking the oil, sanctioned oil, embezzling the money, moving it to crypto, thinking it was safe, moving it offshore, right? And then they had humanitarian aid issues. Look up CLAP program.
Yeah, exactly. Martini Time is here. Thank you, Martini Time. Appreciate the gifts. And Sassy Minnesota Girl said she can't give gifts unless they're in that live. Yes, Sassy. That's the way it works on this new protocol. We each have our own lives. We join together for the show. But if you're whatever live you're in, that's who is getting those likes or those gifts or whatever it is. And you can only see the chat within that live.
But Sassy,
I know it's kind of
you
confusing.
can change. All you got to do is touch the picture of either one of us, and you can gift by doing that.
Oh, okay, guys.
So if I wanted to give Dave a gift, I could give him a gift by touching the screen and just gifting. Same with you, Sam.
And I've got
Okay, let's not talk about touching Dave. Okay, James, let's just
And-
clear that up right now.
I've got I've got
But
some
he's
new
empty.
viewers over on my live that I haven't seen even in yours before. TrumpKennedyCenter.org said Iran, Russia, China were all at the Venezuelan president's inauguration. Billy Rose said Trump's executive order seizing property technically gave us Venezuela for election fraud. Absolutely agree with both of you.
Interesting. John Gwynn said Eastern Washington should be our 51st state. Exactly. And let's not even get into the whole California corruption stuff as well. All right, let's do a quick sponsor break here. So Mike Lindell, who's running for the governor of Minnesota, has supported our show from the beginning. If you need some pillows, if you need some blankets, if you need some sheets, give the business to Mike. He's earned it, in my opinion. Go to mypillow.com, use the discount code SAM, and you'll get up to 80% off of your purchases. Also, we have Neil Naturopathic, the only chemical-free, toxin-free hair care products in the world today that I'm aware of. Go to neilnaturopathic.com, use the discount code SAM20, and you'll get 20% off your order. Dr. Peter Glidden. Doc is with us every Friday, like clockwork. And if you'd like to have more information from him, he has built a website with just a plethora of health and wellness information. Go to samshalhoub.com, click on Dr. Glidden's button in the upper right-hand corner. That'll take you to his website. Use the code SAM, and you'll get a 30% discount. And he will be with us on Friday. I spoke with him this morning. And then, of course, Best Line Racing, the best fuel and engine additives in the world, in my opinion. Go to samshalhoub.com, click on the Best Line Racing button, use the code SAM, and get a major discount. Alex, what about meditation?
Links in my bio. I wrote a beginner's guide to meditation. I was actually blessed this morning to do an online live class meditation with some TikTokers. It was fun. You can get it in the link in my bio. It's on Amazon.
Thank you, Alex. Grow Kind Hair Loss System says, I wish it was easier to post my products to the U.S. and I would love to sponsor your show. Cheryl, send me a message either on TikTok or go to my website and send me an email, and we can certainly talk about that for sure.
There's some chat over in my box. Alex, what is that number that we have to hit for Sam to get a tattoo? That number was 250,000 followers across all the platforms, X, YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, and TikTok.
Yeah, and we're a little over 100,000 right now, so we got a ways to go. Better start referring your friends and sharing the lives out on all the platforms. All right, let's see here. Moving on, we have the next on the hit list. If I can get my screens to work here. Interesting. It looks like, I wonder if Down Detector has, is Outlook out right now, Alex?
Give me just a second.
Yeah, that's really, oh, there it goes. Okay. So the Baltic countries are on alert after a series of suspicious undersea cable outages. Are we going to be seeing some sort of military action? Wasn't it Venezuela where the lights went out during the op? Dave, what do you think?
Yeah, it's one of those deals. I don't know if somebody's tapping into them or damaging them on purpose. Recent cuts linking to Russian-linked vessels. So we'll see what all that consists of. That's a back burner for me.
Yep. James?
You know, I don't know if this is something that was a directed energy weapon type of thing, or another country is plotting to do some sort of takeover. And Alex and I talked about this to some degree last night. We talked about the silver heist. You know, is there a big trade deal going on over there in Venezuela with all the silver? Are they prepping to put the lights out countrywide and just go in there and take everything they got? Or did we make a deal with China? You can have the silver and we're going to take the oil. I don't think we're going to leave people shanghaied that way. I just don't.
Yeah, I would agree. Alex?
Again, going back to our at length conversation last night, with all of the things that are happening in the world and what Trump is doing, he is systematically removing all the boogeymen. Well, The boogeyman is the big scary thing that nobody can confirm or see, or they can simply come out and say they did this or they did that. And I think one of the last boogeymen that he won't be able to take out is the cyber attacks, the cutting of cables and communications. We talked about how you would cripple a lights out scenario. What does that look like? Is it the power grid going down? Is it a cyber attack? They can just come out and say it's a cyber attack, but inside the routers, they just cut connectivity and nobody has the ability to communicate. What does that look like? That's sheer chaos. You go to the pump and your card doesn't work. That's a problem. So I think that with the Patriots in control, with the 90% of the world communications no longer happen on the ground. Where do they happen? What did Trump create? Space Force. Just saying.
And Starlink and Tesla, exactly.
Hey, Alex, to your comment, that's why you pump the gas before you pay for it. Just saying.
We don't do that in California. We haven't done that here in years.
Well, if you live in Washington, they make you sit in your car while they pump your gas.
Yep.
Oh,
Too
really?
dangerous. Way too dangerous.
And Oregon, yeah, for environmental.
Yeah, right. Earl Shannon's here over on YouTube. He said, "Good morning, Fab Four. Trying really hard to stay calm with all the brain dread trolls. I believe Cuba is next." Well, Cuba, Colombia, Mexico, Greenland, Canada, the list goes on. I don't know what's up on the next hit list. I don't know who's on deck.
Iran.
But that's Iran. I don't see us taking over Iran, but I do see Iran being mitigated.
Same way Cuba would be, I think. Same along the ways, I believe.
Yeah, it's hard to say at this point. Wow, that's weird. All right. So Mamdani's, the new New York mayor, has what he's calling a tenant czar, or a tenant advocate. And apparently she went online yesterday and said that that they should seize private property. And she called it a weapon of white supremacy. And after she posted that, what did she do? She deleted her X account, or it was deleted. Whether she did it or not, I don't know. But isn't that interesting that you have a democratic socialist who brings in somebody who says, "Oh, you know what? I think we should take away your private property. It's white supremacy." What the hell are they thinking over there, Alex?
You can't answer that question. What does any insane person think?
Yeah.
I have no words for the stupidity that, I think she was just trolling. And how great would it be if it was Elon Musk that went, "Oh yeah, nope, boop, bye bye."
Yeah, exactly, Dave.
She said the quiet part out loud is what she did. And that thing,
Yeah,
they raised the subway fee by 10 cents. They're doing all kinds of stuff. So keep an eye on that.
Yeah, and they were all supposed to be free, right?
Right, all free.
Yeah.
They raised it.
Yeah. James?
Well, there's ways to removing mayors, governors, or anybody that's working against the United States, and I think we're falling into a case with that with Mamdani. I think they're backing into a corner. I think they're going to bite like a snake, and they're trying just about everything. All this crap started out in New York, and it's going to end in New York.
Yeah. And on this whole thing with Venezuela, Julian Assange's lawyer is now representing Maduro. And Brian said, why was Cuban soldiers protecting Maduro? Because his own military can't stand him. I think there's a lot of truth in that. And I think if we ever know all the truth, I think it's going to be way more surprising than what we're seeing at this point. Alex, what do you think?
I think the more we find out the truth, the more we find out. It's the age of disclosure. Like I said, get your tray tables and seats in the upright position, because it's about to get bumpy, folks.
Yeah.
Q17 said FAFO. Isn't that the truth? Dave?
There's really only one problem with socialism, Sam. Kind of going back to the last story. Eventually, you run out of other people's money.
Yeah, exactly, Dave. Very well stated, James.
Unless you're the Federal Reserve and you can just keep printing it.
Just keep printing it off.
So is Assange's lawyer that's representing Maduro, is he paid by Maduro? Or is he paid by the U.S.? Is he paid by Venezuela? Maduro calls himself innocent, and he also calls himself a prisoner of war. But interestingly enough, if you follow any news, and I've gone around looking on different ABC, NBC, CNN, they use words like the United States abducted Maduro or they kidnapped Maduro. I mean, talk about changing a narrative. That's not what we did.
Yeah, exactly.
And they,
Queen 15, thank you for all the gifts.
and they call him a president. Well,
Right.
his opposition got 6 million. He got 2, and he went ahead and came in and took over. Like that's hello, folks. That's called a dictator.
Exactly. And speaking of dictators and nefarious and corrupt people, President Trump, which was the title of the dispatch this morning, Trump blasted not only Tim Walz and Ilhan Omar, but Gavin Newsom, J.B. Pritzker, Kathy Hochul, and the whole gang, calling them corrupt and incompetent. There's one thing you can bet on with President Trump. He's not going to beat around the bush. And I think this is a perfect example of that. James, what do you think?
Talk about wanting to play the guitar. I mean, that was exciting. President Trump is basically telling, in my opinion, President Trump is basically telling the public and the world that those people are on his list, and he's going to eliminate their jobs. And in Ilhan Omar's case, gone, deport.
Yeah, exactly. Dave?
Well, and I think this is the second part of your story is, as we've said on this program many a times, Minnesota is the tip of the iceberg. $9 billion is going to be cakewalk compared to what we see in Illinois, New York, and the big one, California.
Right. And again, so the President Trump, again, on blast this morning, says that Governor Gavin Newsom is more corrupt in Minnesota, if that's possible. The fraud investigation of California has begun. Now, I personally think it's been going for a while, but thank you for your attention to this matter. Alex, what do you make of it?
The age of disclosure, FAFO. Everything is coming into the light. Trump walked in. He has, instead of just flipping the switch on the room, he has a flashlight, and he's going to shine it in this corner to show you these cockroaches. And eventually we're going to see that light come on, and the entire country is filled with freaking cockroaches. And what was the raid? Roach Motel. They check in, but they don't check out. Trump is building that hotel, and it is going to be glorious.
Yeah.
And I think it was Higgins yesterday, Representative Higgins came out and said that he thinks we should get rid of all 435 Congress members, all 100 senators, and start over. Now, wasn't there legislation passed not too long ago that if by some stroke of God, that if 100 people or more are no longer able to perform their duties in Congress, that there's legislation that was introduced to handle that? What do you think, James?
Rock and roll, baby. That's exactly what needs to happen.
Exactly. Dave?
Strange timing for that, isn't there?
That's what I thought.
And Crystal
Exactly. Alex?
Zetsky just said the protesters went from no kings out there fighting with the no kings to supporting the Venezuela president. So you can't have it both ways.
Very good parallel, Crystal.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Benji 1959 said that Roach Motel is Alcatraz. So, according to Rothmus over on X, Venezuela's former director of military intelligence, Hugo Carvajal, alleged that dozens of U.S. senators tied to the Maduro regime. Now, if what Higgins said is true or is a possibility, and you have how many dozens of senators that are involved with this, it would make sense to me that you would start from scratch. James, what do you think?
You know, when you have senators and congressmen that, according to the United Nations, 8 million Venezuelans have been displaced since 2014, and nearly 3 million of them stays in Colombia. For our U.S. senators and congressmen of either side, I don't care if they're Democratic or Republican, for them to profit off a regime that displaces 8 million people, they got to be some kind of sick.
Yeah, exactly. Dave?
Well, if it's coming to light, it's going to be it's interesting. We go to how many times have we gone from a rumor to a conspiracy to the truth? So let's see let's bring this one to boil and let's see what happens to it.
Yeah, exactly. Alex?
Well, given the given the loss in Minnesota, what, 500 to $700 million conservatively that we found so far. I'm going to make a prediction on the show here. I think by the time the dust settles, and this is a nationwide total, I think we're going to see somewhere between, I don't know, 30 and 40 billion dollars in corruption. I
In Minnesota?
in the United States.
I think you're low.
I think that's way low.
I think California would be knocking on the door of $1 trillion all day long.
Exactly.
Well,
I really
I
do.
agree.
okay,
I really
broader
do.
estimates maybe 116, 117. We'll go with that.
Yeah, there we go. Exactly. Yeah, I think we've only scratched the surface. Just like there's a meme out there that talks about Watergate, and it shows a little tugboat, and then it shows a cruise ship, and it's titled Obamagate. I think that's what we're seeing now. We're seeing just this little bit in Minnesota. Well, not a little bit, a lot, but the amount in Minnesota compared to what's going to be shown not only in California but across the U.S. is I'm confident, at least in the last few years, it's in the trillions. Would be my guess.
Well, just your fast rail speed. What's that? How much is that? 70?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. The homeless efforts that they supposedly had here in California, billions of dollars. The train that hasn't had one track laid, billions of dollars. I mean, the list just goes on. The forestry that didn't clear the forests, and we supposedly had these wildfires, billions of dollars.
But
I mean, I think when you go down the list,
who was managing all that money? NGOs, right?
Yeah.
The states would get it; they would delve it out to NGOs. So we're watching this play out on a national stage for us, and we're watching it play out on a world stage where systematically, one funnel at a time, this administration is shutting down the spigot to the money. And so what happens when the spigot is cut off? You're not going to have somebody printing signs in 10 different cities in a day. You're not going to have the politicians' pockets being lined anymore. Like, we're going to watch the very slow demise of all of this, I'll just Jamesism it, bullshit, and get back to some level of normalcy. Like, the next 3 to 6 months is going to be insane. We've uncovered it. What's next? Accountability.
Right.
David Morales said spotlight on the Nobel Peace Prize Committee and qualifying protocol postulate. Well, I think the Nobel system, I think the elections, I think there is a number of intricate hinge pin, what will we call them, organizations that are going to be, when the truth is revealed, it's going to be mind blowing. But I don't think you can go from, $8-10 billion in Minnesota to trillions of dollars without there being a process involved to bring the people up to speed. People would flip out. There would be chaos in the streets. You have to bring the temperature up slowly, like we talked about many times.
Well,
Michelle,
the corruption by the governors, the city council, the state governors, and the federal government over the last years. They thought about every disaster, every normal routine. They thought about how they're going to screw us, not how they were going to help us.
Exactly. CG, thank you for the gifts. Layson Steele said California amount will be mind blowing. 100%, I agree. Q17 said the frogs are jumping. Yeah, and the cockroaches are scattering. James?
I have a question about this, Sam. We find this money, or we see what was stolen, but aside from outright bank freeze and asset freeze or seizure, how else do we recoup the money that's been spent up in smoke, up the nose, out the chute? How do we get that back?
Well, that's a good question, but Oh, go ahead, Alex.
It's the parallel economy that he's setting up right now to combat the Federal Reserve, right? They've done this for so long, and who is the source of the funds? If we trace this all the way back to the beginning, who is the one that's printing the money to go to all these places? When you stand up a parallel economy through tariffs and bringing the greatness of industry back into our own four walls, that's how you shut that down. When the Fed can't print money anymore because we don't need it to, there's so much money coming in that nobody's going to go to the Fed and say, hey, I need some quantitative easing, right? Like that shit's done. It's done.
Right, and the liquidity markets is usually why QE is, exponentially increased. Once we switch to the new system, which I think is running parallel right now, it'll be a whole brave new world. Now, are they going to claw back some funds? Yes. And I would point everyone to Executive Orders 13818 and Executive Orders 13848. I think most of that has already been done. I don't believe it's been released yet, but I think it's already been done. Skippy said, okay, a little rant, but I'm on a small rural Ford department here in Montana, fire department. Our department sent a truck to help with the Palisades fire. They sat in a parking lot for 2 weeks because of how unorganized. Well, I think that's by design. I think that California is so corrupt and has been so corrupt for so long. Oh, thanks, Towie. That the money has been flowing from taxpayers into the pockets of politicians, NGOs, special interests for so long that when we cut that spigot off, which I think has been cut off, as Alex said, there's just so much money available that we're not going to have these problems anymore. But I don't think they're going to crash the economy to achieve that. I think it's going to be a trend. I don't think it's going to be an event. I think it's going to be a process.
Well, if you look at the national debt clock, we all kind of go back and forth on validity of the numbers and what's showed there. Our current national debt's at $38 trillion. $38 trillion. And how many trillions of dollars has he brought back in through business wanting to relocate to the United States? I think it's at 17, 18, and he's saying maybe 20 very soon. The total hidden wealth stats is 209 billion. So we built
billion or trillion?
Billion. 209 trillion. Sorry.
Trillion, yeah. Okay.
209 trillion. You've got 800 in recaptured assets, 63 in the stock market, 29 in land, 85 in real estate, 12 in mineral reserves, and what is that? Over $1 trillion in precious metal reserves. Total all those up to 209, and it eviscerates the national debt. It puts us into a position of we have more money than we know what to do with, which will translate going back to the people. Exactly what he's talking about doing to Venezuela. Get the pumps flowing, get the oil going out, get the national resources back in the people's hands. How is that an occupation?
And if it's a 209 trillion now, Alex, just a couple of months ago, it was at like 180 trillion. So it's gone up significantly just in the last few months.
I'm watching it tick up $1 million about every 3 seconds.
Wow. Kevin Kiesler said the problem is no matter how much proof you show, the left still says it's fake. But that again, I think that's why we're doing it in the way that we're doing it. It's a slow process. Cognitive dissonance is a real thing. And it takes time for people to understand the truth. And at least that's my perspective on it. PJ Party said, let's put the California money to our police and fire to hire. Well, I think that's part of it. We just got to stop the siphoning is what we got to do. CG said that's why the U.S. debt clock is what it is. Yeah, well, I think you're right. Exactly. Wildlife. Oh, geez, you guys. We're at 203,000 likes. Incredible. You guys are awesome. Brian said I'm hopping lives. I think a lot of people are, Brian.
That's not counting all of our likes because I'm at 29,000.
Jeez. So let's go. Let's go to our next story. The last story of the day. Q-Drop 24 said any person making statements they will not be seeking re-election was put into submission. And then as we all know, Governor Walz said he's not going to run for re-election. Now, I would add to that, not only people not seeking re-election, but people no longer living on Earth would probably be part of that category as well. And I think this is a perfect example. Waltz is done. All the other nefarious players are done. They haven't been rolled out yet, in my opinion, but it's coming. Alex, what do you think?
Dunzo. Like, again, the next 3 to 6 months, even if we all tried to guess what was going to happen and how grandiose it's going to be, I don't think we have the ability to do so. I wanted to quickly, just for those that don't understand what cognitive dissonance in, it exists without outward sign, but surfaces through psychological stress or discomfort, is created due to a person participating in an action that creates conflicting beliefs, attitudes, and behaviors. So couldn't we just shorten cognitive dissonance to TDS?
Yeah, that's part of it for sure. 100%. Earl Shannon said, we don't owe the illegal entities of the Federal Reserve and IRS a penny. 100% I agree. Absolutely, I agree. Dave?
Yeah, to continue that drop, it also said for the betterment of the country, not all will be prosecuted and all will do as told. So plain and simple. So hopefully majority of the ones we will see prosecuted, but that's not going to be up to us.
Yeah, exactly. James?
Well, in regards to what Alex is saying, that was a lot of words for they're just fucked up.
Oh, yeah. I knew the NOS was going to kick in at some point. There it is.
But there is, whether Waltz is alive or not, I don't know if he is. But I agree that he has been said, you will step down, and we don't know what the or is. I would love to have been a fly on the wall the day that conversation happened, because whoever said that was exactly right in the chat. They've been told you're done. And I just, Ilhan Omar, with that little bit of hair that she has left underneath that whatever thing that she wears, you know why that she has no hair? Because his brother was pulling it. You know that.
Elon Bromar, as you
There
know,
you go.
in certain circles. Exactly.
I
All right, everybody.
I have a troll in my comments that says, celebrating the anniversary of your traitor insurrection. Sir, I would challenge you to go look up the definition of the word insurrection. Insurrection happens against a sitting president. So you're absolutely right. We are celebrating the insurrection that happened on January 6th against the 45th sitting president. Thank you for bringing that up. I appreciate that.
45-47. Uh-huh. Exactly. All right, everybody. So that's it for today. We're going to sign off over on X, Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble, because we will be dancing today, of course, and we aren't able to do that on those platforms. So thank you, everybody, for being here over there. We'll be back tomorrow morning.